These teams are not invincible by any means. Commandment, Scented and Stretch, you know, maybe they are. Maybe they've already punched their ticket, but we'll have to find out exactly from them to see, see if they've managed to punch their ticket all the way through. But for the teams down below that, second down the way, all the way up, those other slots are definitely still open.
Yeah, listen, if someone doesn't like completely land on them the next 2 games, which this game already uncontested again, yeah, it's over. They've made it. 2 more games in front of them, shouldn't have a single issue here. But it is still, you know, impressive to see how close the other teams are, right? Like Qua, Iamzo, and Paper are just playing exceptional. I think no one expected them, you know what I mean? Like when it just came down to predictions, we did not have Iamzo, Paper, and Quad the discussion there. Neither did we have Niddle, Casper, and Smack, who again are contested at Retail Row up until this moment and have really managed to not only win the drop, but even with the scrappy loadouts, even with the scrappy loot, find their way into a top 3 position is just so impressive. I'm mind boggled and blown away by the consistency of these trios.
Absolutely. I'd put, just checking back through my full top 10 predictions, I'd put Qua, Iamzo, and Paper in 6th. So I put them not to qualify, but just. And they're definitely proving the top 5, right? I know, exactly. They're looking super strong. I'm going to say I didn't put Nil, Casker, and Smacked up there because it's the same reason you said, the awkward fights going on. And I was about to say I didn't put this team in. I actually did put this team into my top 10 right now. Calc's team, I was a believer. But so far, this early game fight at Craggy Cliffs, which was Calc's old home, doesn't seem to be working out too well for them.
Yeah, are they mixing up the drop right now here? Just trying to get back into some early, old, trusty kind of battlegrounds here for Calc right now. It's not looking too hot. He barely has anything to work with. No shotgun either, so missed opportunities there to find one. And instead, he's going to get a huge one off the Spark. This is essentially feeding them up some points here. But yes, I do agree. Calc and company, although they may be having a rough day today, they're not a trio to count out by any means. For Perta, Sparky, and Redux here, I mean, great on them to go ahead and win the drop here. Make it look nice and easy for themselves. Find those a couple of elims here. Those are points that they also need.
In those points, indeed, like you said, that's a crucial 6 points that's moved them on up. Hopefully, maybe they've been struggling with some surge in previous games, and now that fight off spawn may just help them. Calx previously was dropping in Steamy Stacks uncontested and obviously struggling with Storm Surge and multiple kind of mid to early late games, so they, like you said, went back to this trusty home drop spot. Shame it didn't work out for them so much, but like I said, for a Pertus team, this is looking really good. And if we get that full map view, we can see the full distribution of the teams right now, and everyone's kind of relatively evenly split so far. The fights have ended in nearly all of these drop spots, and you can see teams in Kai Corner, you can see the Misty team, which will be Muzz's team. You know, everything's calm right now. Everyone's just evenly spread, distributed, and this is where the players are just looting before they all get booting and rotating.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the time to do it right here. And a different pace, right, for game 5, especially this late into the tournament series. Typically, the pacing just, you know, the trade derails, right? Let's just be honest. The trade pushes off the tracks and everyone gets W feed. But not in FNCS. FNCS, you get just a different temperature check going on up in here, and you can tell the players take it seriously down to the final moments because at the end of the day, they're still also playing for consistency points. But more importantly, we've seen comeback stories like top 5 can realistically be achieved with all the placement points you got up to that point, and then 2 big pop-off games at the end, especially with the way this elim format favors the points.
You got to think, if you're like 20th right now and you've probably had 1 good game, right, and the other 3 not so good games, to put it nicely, you've got to say, am I confident in the fact that I could be aggressive and W key this entire lobby if I've probably lost 3 fights out of the 4 that I've taken so far? Chances are probably not, right? So when it comes to this 5th game, a lot of the teams who are lower down aren't in that confidence zone yet where they could win the fights. When it gets to the 6th game, confidence is irrelevant because they're just going for the fights. This is an all or nothing play at that time. So game 5 is always a really awkward one where we've got to check in and be like, should we key, should we not? Guys like Gold, Crackling, Tieko, who obviously picked up the previous Victory Royale in that last game, they're ones who almost perfectly fit that mark as they were, what, 8 points, did I say before? Now they're up till 18 with the Victory Royale. So 3 bad games and a Victory Royale for them. So we've got to figure out their play style. Are they feeling confident? Obviously, they're getting a little bit too close to Booga's team, getting beamed up big by the automatic sniper here. And now they're backing off. So definitely a team that's not going to be taking a lot of fights.
And one more decent game for them. One more decent game for them. And then all of a sudden, they are just inside the striking distance here for the final game, sliding on in. So this is why you don't give up, like really, honestly, ever. Especially when you have multiple games of Fortnite left over. For Quad Eons on paper, they just get their car really banged up, but luckily it's not enough to go in and force them out of the vehicle here. They get to a key position where they can go ahead and get their brick as a part of their rotation and their strategy. Pikes, Ethor, and Boxer, on the other hand, are just in a little bit of a scrappy fight here, playing the low ground right now, and judging by the silhouettes of the opponents here, they're starting to get swarmed in.
This is exactly the same spot that we watched the same thing happen last game, but this time it's Day, Jamper, and Tragics who've moved on in. These are the guys who pulled up in that car. Remember in that previous fight, as it was Calc that was fighting in this spot against Boxer's team. Now it's Day's team, who looks like they want to get fully involved in this fight. They want to see what Pix has to offer, or Pikes has to offer. And so far, with them, they're on 28 points total. So I was going to say Day's going to feel confident about that. Definitely a team who'd be happy to take this fight, but the amount of materials they've invested, they're just going to hit the dip and disengage.
Yeah, they're out. Jack, Acorn, and Slacks on the other side, taking a fight here in the low ground, but the floor is on fire. Got to be careful here. That will do tons of damage, and looks like a siphon might have come through. I don't know where the extra health came from, but what just happened?
We'll see. Playing that charge down on the low ground. So they can do if they can get some angles. Like I said, the single elimination has come through so far. This will be them rolled up onto our previous game winners if this other team hasn't moved from this previous fight. Remember, that'll be a team who just won, who's moved on up to 18, which was Tieko's team. Now it looks like they're going to get aggressive, jump on into the box and hit every single shot. That's the end of it. That's Raps. They got the Chili Chug Splashes. They also managed to get the launch pad, but Slacks goes down to, I'm guessing it's probably Buzz's team spraying from a distance down in Misty Meadows. Yeah, and there's Miro looking on in. I don't think any of these engagements will actually end up happening because both these teams need to be careful. Both these teams have a chance to make it in the top 5, and with those points, that's almost moving Slacks, Acorn, Jack up into a top 5 position so far. So neither team's going to want to do anything silly. They're just going to be slow, calculated, and that's exactly what you want to see. That's actually very impressive from Miro's team not to push on in. I'm sure, again, there were some comms that they wanted to fight that. Let's be real.
Yeah, that was a key engagement right there. And let's just talk about the significance of those points. This puts them quite hand in hand right now with Degen, Aegis, and Kanata, who are at 100 points there. Mind you, just a point off from that, Threats, Edgy, and Rise, who you saw in the distance, they were making their rotate on out. So a little too late to that fight there. Couldn't get a piece of the action like they were hoping to find. And they're just going to have to find their rotates and take a different fight, right? So big clashes are going to come soon, especially for a team like Threats, Edgy, and Rise, who didn't get to take advantage of the third party and find those tags. So I'm kind of interested to see where they're going to end up on the Storm Surge when it becomes active.
I am too, and you'll see the exact same thing for Storm Surge for Quaz team. Look at the elevation that they've built themselves in here. Look at the depth that they've managed to rotate their team in to go all the way through to this high ground spot right now that they've built all the way up. Look at the angles that they get. The vision they have over the entire team rotating. This is extremely early to rotate in, and they've got themselves such a good spot so far. A little quick stat is Quaz team is the only team with multiple 10+ elimination games. So 2 double-digit games so far, and the rest of them not looking too shabby either.
And one of those double-digit games was a first place victory royale in game number 2. So big game for them. And then, of course, coming off that massive 12 elim run that they just finished up in the top 3 there. So huge games, truly carrying them up the standings here. On the other side, we have a bit of a fragmented Aperta, Sparky, and Redux, who have managed to split up, and this is just to the hands of a 2-man fight between Pose and X and B right now.
And Pose, X, and B consistently getting into fights very repeatedly so far. We've seen them through all the games basically do the same. Redux obviously won the fight in Craggy Cliffs against Calc's team without too much difficulty already. Seems like now they're just gonna have to not really want to get into this engagement. I think they probably picked up that other elimination, given that they have 4 total. They're just gonna dip on out, find a spot to rotate to, and good job. Their edge zone, no point in taking that fight.
Yeah, definitely no point. On the other side, Donnie and Joji here taking another fight inside the Weeping Woods as all the trees have been set ablaze here. So this is really going to start opening up some sight lines they haven't already start to formulate here. The floor is on fire, so these trios down low do have to be careful here. And the advantage is on them. There goes the cone here. He sets it up, but no, shot from behind. No, actually, that's the flames coming through. That's what we were talking about. But you have to be careful when you jump on down. They knew the risk was there, and look at this. Their whole team gets punished there. Joji loses tons of HP, and so does Donnie. They're going to be pretty much forced to back up now.
Be forced to back up. Get on out of there. See what they can do, right? Because for now, it looked like a good play, right? They were going with a pre-edit play. You could see Donnie was holding the pre-edits out. They jumped down on the fire. Joji gets beamed in the back from the other team. The fire also tags at the same time. So they are looking kind of desperate, right? They had no information onto Piggy's team and how much they'd actually dealt in terms of damage, and they just wanted to jump on into the pre-edit play. So to me, that shows me that Donnie's getting very desperate at this point. Same thing, they're trying to do the same thing again as full Piggy team's getting pressured, and I think now Echo is even on the far side, may have to start pressuring in too, and this could be a full lobby square with the amount of teams who are rotating around in this position.
Yeah, and there's a team rotating right in, pretty hot and direct here. Looks like they're coming in swift. Could be a vehicle rolling up, and there it is, right from behind where they had their guard let down, and someone's banging that drum right behind them, hitting those walls here, ready to get inside the builds. Here comes the AR shots from behind, and all of a sudden, Donnie, who had a virtually uncontested battle and skirmish going on, gets fully rolled up on by Cease and Cold straight out of the Coral Castle. On the other side, Stretch, no HP. He gets harpooned on into the box. It's up against Quack. A beautiful shot there onto Quack to go in and buy him some time, and Sente comes on down to the rescue here. Now Sente does have the chug splashes here. These are going to be pivotal for their HP to bounce back in, and instead of using them, instead they're going to go for the full med kit here, trying to value out right now. And this is the calm demeanor of an exceptional trio.
Exactly what we want to see from our current first place team so far. Still on 145 points, right? They've not gained anything, so if they were to go down in that fight, there's potential they wouldn't qualify, but luckily they're slow, they're playing things out, and if they even manage just to get to that top 24 teams, which will give them that +5 placement points, I think that should be them guaranteed 100% in. I say that, my maths can definitely be wrong. It has been wrong before, but I don't want to fully commit to that. But it seems like for them, they're just playing slow. They know what they need to do, gain a couple other points. I've already seen Sente tweet that he's dropping in Lazy Lake in the finals. They're confident they've already qualified.
Yeah, they know it. They're feeling it right now, and honestly, a couple more Elans would just put the icing on the cake. Here comes the breakdown. Sente catches the player there, and then the follow-up onto Quack, and Sente makes it look nice and easy here as he does not miss a single shot there. And you watched how dangerous the shotgun can be there when it's fully charged out there. That charged shotgun, man, can do some massive damage.
I don't think he even took a shot back. They just let him in and just all hit the pumps at the same time. That was great. They were holding the floors. They just instantly stopped holding all at the same time, took the pumps out, hit the same shots. Made life so easy for them. So great job from them. Again, just the kind of plays you see from top tier teams. The reason they're at the top of the leaderboard. That's the easiest, probably, let's be real, the easiest 6 points of the day for them.
I mean, honestly, for all we know, they could have just had the floor pre-edited because, you know, there wasn't any time between when they took that floor and those players came down. So I would not be surprised if they used that very unique tech. And that happens when players kind of put themselves in those positions, like pre-edits. As much as people might have rivaled or rallied for, oh, disable them. No, you see how they can come in use as people start to figure out creative strategies when the time calls for it. But back over with Colazo, Lazar, and Trashy, who really need these Elans right here if they want to qualify tonight. Like, with how close the standings are starting to get here, remember, top 5 being the cutoff. They're hanging on by a thread right now, right? They didn't quite have the last game that they were looking for. Top 25 elimination. They were taken out way too early last game.
Yeah, and they were taken out in this exact spot, the spot that they're at right now on this hill. And if they're going to try and take, I think they are going to go for a zipline play. Please don't. Yeah, don't do it, Glazo. Come on. Don't. Hang on. Okay, we're good. We're all good. They're not going to hit the zipline play. We know that all of the teams seeing that would absolutely beam them. But to be honest, there's not actually a team at the top of this hill that would be holding them in that position. So I'm not as worried, but still, they made the right call. not going on to it. They managed to get through the Storm Surge, which they struggled with a lot in the previous game so far. They got through the exact same position on the zone, which is relatively similar for them. Now they have to worry about getting into a good spot in the third zone, right? Relatively centered, with a lot of the players are currently on this congested side, so getting a little bit deeper in could be big for them, but it seems like they're actually getting into a bit of an engagement at the edge of the zone, and I don't think they picked up that elimination. It might be a third party that came through. It was Threats that picked up that just while spraying from a distance, so for them, they get the materials, but they're not going to gain the additional 2 points for that.
Yeah, now they're getting the lobby focus as well, and as that's happening, Colossal gets taken out, and then Dave's trio rolls up right from behind here. Tragics and Jamper are going to hop in on Lazar, and Dave finds Lazar P right there as well, and it's just going to be a swift, quick chop there to take these players out, and all of a sudden now, it went from what looked like a honestly beautiful rotate, great pickup for loot, and just it all crumbled that quickly. And it might be the result of Colossal just putting a little bit too much attention and shots on today. I like to call that when pros take it personal, right? Like, hey, yeah, we didn't forget about you. You know, you want to shoot us when we rotate, and now all of a sudden they just followed them right up that ramp and then took them out.
But it is indeed that late rotate, so it's going to put you in that position. All the teams who'd already set themselves up earlier obviously just have sightlines they can just sit and hold, and that's one of the difficulties of rotating so late like they did. And it inevitably was the end for Colossal's team there. Sentids alongside Stretch and Commandment on the opposite end of that, a team who put themselves into such a good position early on, have all these additional materials from that fight that they had. Obviously we saw all of those mats are now getting recycled in. They just put themselves into a good spot on the low in the fourth ground or the fourth zone, and just going to be easy pickings from there on out, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Look at this huge tarp they have here just to get themselves right into the new zone for free, essentially, here based off of some additional material they had lying around. As the drone gives us the perfect shot of the other team's struggles here for Speggle, Charlie, and DeRoller. They try to fight their way to the new zone right now, and they have quite a ways to go. For Kanata, Degen, and Agers, though, the team that needs it most, it seems like they have the high ground and a potential zone looking to favor them.
That is indeed as the wide shot goes round. We see the players all set up into their subsequent positions. OMG me with Convicted. Nice little zone, a bit away from everyone else. Same with Cold's team with Cease. Both teams managed to make it out of Coral Castle. A lot of big high ground build up in the middle here. Fired's team alongside Edgy also looking to put themselves into a good position. Slag, Sacorn, Jack still in this game too, and it's all going to come down to where's that fifth zone going to pull. And here's something I'm interested in. Miro, Muzz, and Booga above the Storm Surge threshold. In it is a full trio. Center fourth zone, so they'll have relatively easy rotates to the fifth wherever it pulls. Tons of materials, mobility, heals, ammo. Look, this is a top 5 game. This is a top 5 game for Booga, Muzz, and Miro, and if it's not, something's been misplayed here.
You're telling me they qualified, right?
No, I mean top 5 placement. But that should put them up. They're already
no,
fourth,
it would.
so
It will put them up. It will give them just enough there to basically edge out, I think, or be in position to edge out anyone else. And yes, look, here it is. That same call you just made, being center fourth zone, is going to pay itself out in spades here as they get a really, really easy rotate. All they have to do is cut across here and not get caught by Edgy, Threats, and Rise. But Threats has got his eyes on the prize here. He's looking back. He's not going to give away a free rotate to anyone right now. He sets up a little trap there, and they back off. Iamzo on the other side has to fight for it, and this is very important for Iamzo, Quan, Paper. If they go down super early here with no big points, it could spell disaster here, leaning into the last game, putting all the pressure on him for the last game, and that is not the kind of pressure you want, but it's what is being dealt to Iamzo right now. He managed to out-survive the tags that he needed there for the surge. That is impressive, to say the least.
It's impressive, but he's lost Quan, Paper. And so far, 131. If he goes down without gaining any additional points, which he'll get more if he survives past one more team, still, that is not solidified in first, right? It'll all go down to the final game for Iamzo. So this solo clutch, it's so important for him. So important on the low ground. We see Sent, Commandment, Stretch. Absolutely no. Like, I'm not surprised. I know they're going to be down there. You see Iamzo up above them, still sitting as a solo, trying to be in this full metal box, popping the med kit, trying to get any heals off. And this is going to be huge. Is that the spray coming out now? Yes, it is the spray indeed. So Nosh's team has found where Iamzo is. They know he's solo because they picked up the 2 eliminations onto his teammates. This is just more materials being drained from Iamzo, as maybe he can hit the 1v3. Look, let's be real. I want to see it happening.
Yeah, listen, I'm so interested in watching Eonzo's story unfold here. Keep a very close eye on what he's going to be able to do this game here, because it quite literally is coming down to this game here. If it'll be enough to clutch him up, and the zone is going to be a max distance full, so no one is safe here. Not a single person is at the spear point of this next rotate, but luckily for some, like Commandment, Sensing, and Stretch, they just have so much freedom here to move around and gather information here because of the way they have positioned themselves up on this game. They'll have, or be one of the first teams that can actually take a stab at moving here nice and early, so long as no one blocks them out from above. And it seems like the sky is clear for a launch pad right now.
Yeah, it's the problem of being on such a low layer is that often places above you are blocked, but no, they've got a great spot. They managed to hit a full high pad. It doesn't seem like anyone's going to beam them out of the sky so far. Maybe I speak too soon as I see Commandment's HP slowly start to dwindle away, but he seems to be fine. They land a good layer above a team, don't manage to get dropped down so far. And what I want to see is them consistently keeping ahead into this first moving. Maybe going for a double pad so far. That's close. The shot comes into the back of the other player here, and 150 comes up from Stretch. The huge one pump, an almost max damage pump picks up onto DGen. So that is critical for the leaderboard, as DGen was 6th going into this, just underneath the qualification threshold.
Now that was just a finish there. So I see Agers and Kanata right now working the outskirt. Agers does find a launch pad. He's going to bounce his way on in. D-Rolo is going to be on his heels pretty closely. And up above Agers is Muzz and Booga. Percentage, Stretch, and Commandment, though, they are positioned up here. 4 eliminations already. They have walked their way into this top 5, and they're looking good while doing it. Edgy's going to find a huge one there. On to Straw Hat Charlie. He is down. This is just top 5 on top 5 action right there. The players are really fighting for it now. And mind you, we're only inside top 15, so there's not a lot of placement points being given out just yet.
Not many placement points being given up on the high ground. Slags, Acorn, and Jack fighting for it against Nut. Rise is still there onto second height layer. Muzz on the far left, just screaming. The Booga and Miro also still in this, but I think they're getting tagged by Storm Surge. I'm not entirely sure. It could be the teams down below them. And on height, Acorn and Jack have been picked up, leaving Slags alive as a solo near the back of the zone with minimal materials, and he is going down now as well. I think he picked up Nut, and it's going to be Nut picks him back up in return. So Edgy, Threat, and Rise, 122 points right now, claiming the high ground, going into the third moving zone.
This is it. They're trying to put themselves in position to go out and qualify here for the last game right now. But remember, this is just game number 5. So after this one, there's going to be one more important game. Kanata still clutching up right now. He makes the top 10. Kanata, if you do it again here, if you even find a single elim right now, I'm probably going to lose it. He's going to go up against the full trio. Let's see what he's got here. He's holding his ball. It's going to be a close one. Did Eonzo make it, though, is another question as well, as we're looking at solo clutch performances here. Be the difference maker for teams that need to qualify. No, he's going to go down, but it still is going to be a great game for him.
And it's Booga who picked him up, and I saw Miro went down earlier in the feed. So it's a game of duos, a game of solos, not a huge game of full trios still left in this. We see Jamper Day still in this in the low ground, however, and it is Muzz still in this as well. So yet another solo. So Booga's down, Miro's down. Muzz has to do what he can as a solo in an end game. 3 builds, blue pump, his aim hopefully on point.
Yeah, definitely. Stretch is also just back against the wall here. Low HP. TK has height. Commandment is left by himself. Stretch goes down. He's got that charge. It's legendary. It's fully ready here to let go of Shop. No, he's going to miss it. And that's going to be the vital mistake for him that gets him taken out of the game right now. Edgy on the other side here, just trying to cushion his way up the top here. He's going to give up the high positioning because he does not have the material. And this is just movement at its finest there. Day goes down, but he could not get the finish. Not at all. Up top, it's Slem and Donnie. Narwhal's gonna find the full elim there onto Donnie, and this should be their game to close out here.
Should be their game to close out. Tragic still in it as a solo in the mid ground, in the worst position he could possibly be in. The full trio is trying to run straight into his box. OMG me still in as a full trio on the low ground, but TK takes height up above and he finishes off on the Tragics. It's a 3v3 classic high ground versus low ground. No heal off on the team up above. They drop down onto low. The shots come in from every single angle. TK trying to play the angle, but he goes down. Slime slip on high ground, getting traded back. He hits the 30 shot, drops down to low ground. The 69 from him. He's finished too. Trades back left and forward. The finish comes through into OMG me, but it's not gonna be enough. They don't end up picking that up, and it's gonna be Narwhal, Zlem, and TK who pick up the victory in game number 5.
That was a crazy back and forth 3v3 situation there, but Narwhal, Zlem, and TK come out on top. And the difference, by the way,